Respect for private property, Morgan complained. You brought the date of the demolition forward, Cross stated. Yes, permissions came through 5 days earlier than expected. How did you know? Morgan asked. I checked the council planning notice before I came. Any particular reason for changing the date? I just wanted to get on with it. That's all, Morgan replied. DCI Carson, Cross and Ottie's direct boss, had assigned the, by now customary, minimal number of resources to the investigation. This wasn't so much because murder was no longer considered to be a serious crime, but was due to the fact that continual cuts had meant that there weren't enough people around to man a murder investigation properly. Cross couldn't understand why Ottie remonstrated with Carson every time this happened. It seemed pointless to him. Cross would secretly have preferred to conduct these murder inquiries on his own, even though he knew this was completely impractical. It was useful to have people available to pursue any lines of inquiry he came up with, but essentially he liked to work in a solitary fashion. He didn't have to be constantly monitoring his own behaviour to others when he was on his own. He certainly couldn't be entrusted with leading a team. It had been tried, once, with catastrophic results which almost led to his resignation. Such was the pressure of having to deal with other people reporting to him. He was best placed to come up with a plan of action for them all to follow. His partner, Josie Ottie, a black single mother of 2, would then lead the team and implement his plan. Exactly, and to the letter, which was, she found out early on, the only way it could work. She had been partnered with him despite much protest on her part. Now she found herself constantly being his apologist and interface with the rest of the department. Being his interpreter was not why she'd joined the police. Cross was at best socially awkward, at worst bloody rude. But the fact of the matter was that he was an exceptional detective. So obsessed was he with the minutiae of every case, stuff that others, including herself, would often ignore. Such was his rigour about detail and obsession with logic, routines, patterns of behaviour and any anomalies within them, that he had the highest conviction rate in the area. His social awkwardness and lack of empathy were also particularly useful tools in the interview room, she had begun to learn. That, together with the fact that it seemed to be a place where he felt completely comfortable. Suspects were unnerved by his demeanour and often made the mistake of letting it encourage them to underestimate him. It was a mistake they would invariably come to regret. Carson addressed the garage murder team, as he had labelled it, in the open area. He had a predilection for giving the cases they worked on some sort of colloquial title, as if it gave them an air of notoriety. So, the first thing we need to do is identify the victim, he said, unnecessarily, in Ottie's opinion. He had no ID on him, no wallet, no phone, driving licence, engraved watch, absolutely nada. Obviously we'll try fingerprints and DNA, but unless he's in the system, or served in the military, that will probably lead us nowhere. Ottie found these meetings both patronising and infuriating. Aside from stating the obvious, it was as if Carson was convincing himself, as well as the others, that he was in charge and had a purpose in the investigation. But he was repeating the information to the very people who had given him that information in the first place. Cross, on the other hand, didn't mind this so much. He thought it useful to remind the team of their tasks and the fundamentals needed in solving any murder. He had no problem with the mundane nature of it all. Besides, it gave him time to think, as the facts were laid out verbally in front of him. Josie, what does George think? He asked this as if Cross wasn't in the room. Alice Mackenzie was a trainee police staff investigator. She had found this type of thing strange when she first joined the unit 6 months before, but she saw that everyone else took it in their stride. She learnt that Cross didn't like to talk in front of several people if he didn't have to, so Ottie would relay to everyone what he was thinking. He'd informed her of this before the meeting. She was no mind reader. As things went, when working with Cross,